keys from the abyss, how to tap into the hidden energetics that the light can't teach you. There's a place beyond light, a place beyond the sanitized, safe teachings of surface-level spirituality. A place where the soul doesn't just awaken, it remembers. And in that place there are energies, not soft, angelic frequencies, but raw, electric, unfiltered codes from the dark dimensions. If you're a dark chosen one, these energies don't scare you, they summon you. You felt them before, in your grief, in your rage, in the silence that followed your collapse. You've tasted the edge of something ancient and infinite. And now I want to show you what those energies are. Because they're not chaos. They're not evil. They are primordial technologies encoded into the fabric of your energetic body. And the moment you learn how to work with them, not fear them, is the moment you stop surviving and start supercharging your soul's mission beyond this matrix. The first dark dimension energy is what I call primordial stillness. This isn't the kind of stillness you find in a yoga class or a meditation app. This is pre-creation silence, the 0 point, the void. It's the energy that exists before anything is born. And when you learn how to enter this field, you don't just find peace, you tap into pure potential. Most people are terrified of this stillness because it feels like death. And in a way it is. It's the death of ego, the death of timelines, the death of everything you thought you were. But if you can sit in it, if you can let it strip you clean, you'll come out with clarity that no mentor, no book, no download could ever give you. Most people try to manifest from desire. But the dark chosen ones, we manifest from emptiness. Because that's where the blueprint of your true essence lies. Way in the void. In the womb of all things. The second energy is sacred rage, not anger, not bitterness. Sacred rage, the kind that erupts when your soul has been dishonored for too long. The kind that doesn't destroy, it liberates. We've been told to tame our rage, to breathe through it, to silence it in the name of spiritual maturity. But that's a lie, because rage is a compass. Rage is a coded response to distortion. When you feel it rising, it's not because you're broken, it's because your soul is revolting against a false reality. Sacred rage doesn't scream without purpose. It cuts through illusion like a blade. And if you learn to channel it ritually, intentionally, cleanly, it becomes one of the most potent energies in your arsenal. It will burn contracts, sever karmic loops, collapse timelines, and most importantly, it will return your power to your body. Not your mind, not your aura, your body, because that's where your true sovereignty lives. Then we move into the third dark energy, shadow genesis. This is the field where everything you've rejected, denied, and buried comes alive, not to haunt you, but to reclaim you. Your shadow isn't your enemy. It's your unlived potential. Every time you suppress your jealousy, your manipulation, your lust, your grief, those fragments don't disappear. They go underground, and from there they run your life from the shadows. But when you enter the realm of shadow genesis, you don't exile those parts anymore. You invite them home. You let them speak. You let them teach you. This is where you learn that every dark aspect of you is actually a distorted gift. Your jealousy is intuition that hasn't been trusted. Your rage is leadership that hasn't been expressed. Your lust is creative power that hasn't been embodied. And when you integrate these parts, you don't just become whole. You become unshakable. This brings us to the fourth energy, and it's where things get quantum, ancestral rebellion. This isn't about honoring your lineage through rituals alone. It's about breaking the codes that your ancestors couldn't. Every bloodline carries energetic contracts, some sacred, some parasitic. As a dark chosen one, you didn't come here to repeat history. You came here to rewrite it. That means confronting the unspoken pain, the generational shame, the unprocessed grief that no one else would touch. And it's not always glamorous. Sometimes it means crying the tears your grandmother never could. Sometimes it means walking away from the very traditions that raised you. But when you do this work, you don't just heal backwards, you create ripple effects that restructure the DNA of your entire bloodline. You become the anomaly, the glitch, the one who refuses to carry what isn't yours. And in doing so, you retrieve energy that was trapped for generations. You become the liberator of your lineage. But let me pause here and ask you something that might shake your entire path. Have you truly chosen your power, or are you still trying to earn it by being acceptable to the light? Because these energies won't meet you in perfection. They'll meet you in your rawest, most unfiltered state. They don't care about your polish. They care about your presence. They don't want you to be good. They want you to be true. And if you're still trying to ascend without first descending into your own depths, these energies will feel violent. Not because they are, but because they're too honest for your illusions to survive. So I want you to ask yourself deeply, what am I still afraid to feel? What am I still afraid to become? Because here's the truth. These dark energies are not out there. They're within you, waiting, pulsing, remembering. They've been with you since before this life. They've been whispering through your breakdowns, echoing through your dreams, guiding you every time you walked away from something that looked good but felt wrong. You didn't imagine that. You weren't crazy. You were being trained. And now the time has come to stop denying your rawness, to stop editing your magic, to stop seeking external permission for what your soul already knows is true. These dark energies aren't here to harm you. They're here to supercharge you, to awaken the parts of you that the light could never reach. Because some of us were not built to fit into the light. We were built to hold the whole spectrum, and in doing so, become the bridge between worlds. The forbidden pulse, how to fuse shadow frequencies into living alchemy and become a force the system can't predict. To walk this path is to become one with a rhythm most people will never hear. A rhythm that doesn't beat in the heart, but in the void between heartbeats. It's the forbidden pulse. The frequency that comes alive only when you stop trying to be good, safe, or understood. And once you feel it, once you let it move you, you stop being a person walking a path, and you become the path itself. This is where the fifth dark energy emerges. It's called womb chaos. Not chaos as destruction. Chaos as primordial intelligence. The Matrix fears this energy because it doesn't follow order. It creates from disorder. It's the magic of the feminine void, the spiral, the storm, the eruption before clarity. Most people are terrified of this energy because it cannot be controlled. But if you can anchor inside it, it becomes your most powerful source of manifestation. Not the kind that comes from vision boards, but the kind that reshapes timelines at the root frequency. Womb chaos is the place you go when logic fails you, when your plans collapse, when your vision no longer fits inside your current identity. It's the place you die and are reborn not metaphorically, but energetically. You must be willing to let your old self rot inside your own field without rushing to replace it. You must be willing to feel insane, lost, unrecognizable. Because in that dissolution, the womb is recoding you, not to make you stronger, but to make you sovereign. If you try to control this process, you'll break. But if you surrender to it, you'll emerge with codes that no school, no lineage, no system could ever teach you. You'll become original frequency, pure, unfiltered, uncopyable. And that's when the matrix starts to glitch around you, because it cannot track what it cannot categorize. And womb chaos makes you category-less. The sixth dark dimension energy is temporal anarchy. This one is for those of us who have always felt like time was a lie. Like the linear path of birth, school, job, death was inverted. And it is, because time is a spell cast to keep you locked in a rhythm that isn't yours. But when you access temporal anarchy, you begin to bend time around your field. You don't chase timelines, you collapse them. You move faster by moving deeper. You collapse 5 years of healing in a single decision. You exit karmic cycles not by working through them, but by refusing to be the version of you who entered them. This is not bypassing. This is mastery. The timeline only exists if you agree to stay in the identity that created it. But when you shift your frequency, the timeline has no choice but to shift with you. That's why dark chosen ones often feel out of sync with the world. Because we were never meant to sync with artificial time. We were sent to dismantle it from within. But here's the key. You don't access temporal anarchy by thinking faster. You access it by slowing into precision. By becoming so intentional with your energy that every movement, every choice, every word shifts the grid around you. This is why your presence unnerves people. You're not moving fast, but somehow everything moves when you do. They sense it. They don't know how to name it, but they feel the distortion in their field when you speak truth into a room that's been pretending. You're not just operating in time, you're recalibrating it. And the deeper you go into this energy, the more your life becomes unrelatable to the masses. You're no longer on a schedule, you're on a pulse. And that pulse is coming directly from your soul's coding, not society's prescriptions. Now we arrive at the seventh and final dark energy, Singularity Embodiment. This is the state of total energetic fusion where your shadow, your light, your chaos, your lineage, your rage, your stillness, your lust, your silence, all collapse into one coherent frequency. You're no longer fragmented. You're no longer trying to balance your darkness and light. You've become the field that holds both. And in that state, you become singular, not as in special, but as in undivided. And this is what makes you a true force. Because when you embody singularity, you no longer leak. You no longer need to explain. You no longer seek alignment, you are alignment. And when others meet you, they don't understand what they're feeling. They just feel undone. not because you attack them, but because your coherence exposes their fractures. Singularity embodiment is not a peak you reach. It's a frequency you sustain. It's not about being always powerful or always calm or always on. It's about being consistently honest. You don't fake positivity. You don't hide your grief. You don't weaponize your wisdom. You exist as a whole being, and that is your teaching. People try to decode you. They try to replicate your essence. They think it's your technique, your voice, your presence. But it's none of that. It's the fact that you've stopped being at war with yourself. You've stopped negotiating with your soul. And in that surrender, you've become unpredictable and undeniable. That's not charisma. That's singularity. And the Matrix has no protocol for a being who no longer fractures in order to be accepted. So now I ask you the one question that will determine the rest of your timeline. Are you willing to become so whole that even your suffering becomes sacred? So integrated that your presence becomes a portal? So singular that your very existence begins to warp reality around you? Because if you are, then these energies are no longer outside you. They are you. They've always been you. Waiting, breathing, watching, whispering from the edge of your breakdowns, your initiations, your becoming. And now they're ready to move through you at full scale. But only if you stop trying to be safe. Only if you stop trying to be liked. Only if you stop trying to be digestible to a world that was never built to hold your frequency. You were not sent here to fit. You were sent here to reformat the field. And these 7 dark dimension energies are not powers to be mastered. They are remembrances to be embodied. When you stop chasing transcendence and start anchoring raw presence, you don't just become powerful, you become inevitable. And that's when you stop being a seeker and start becoming the source. Dark source activation, how to use the 7 energies to collapse illusions, amplify sovereignty, and walk as a living force of destiny. Now that the codes have been revealed, the question is no longer what are the energies. The question becomes, what do I do with this power now that it's awake inside me? Because knowing is not enough. Feeling is not enough. Even channeling is not enough. The true path of the dark chosen one begins not when you discover your power, but when you choose to wield it with refinement, with precision, and with purpose. These 7 dark forces, primordial stillness, sacred rage, shadow genesis, ancestral rebellion, womb chaos, temporal anarchy, and singularity embodiment are not trophies. They are technologies. And if you don't learn how to contain them, refine them, and embody them with surgical clarity, they will overwhelm you. They will sabotage your relationships. They will distort your mission. They will turn your power into poison. So what do? We activate Dark Source. Dark Source is the fusion point. It's the moment where your knowing becomes embodiment, where your energy stops being a theory and starts becoming a tangible field that reshapes everyone and everything around you. This is not metaphor. This is energetic reality. When you walk into a room anchored in Dark Source, people shift. Not because you're performing, but because your field is clean. Your frequency is unthreatened. You're not leaking. You're not projecting. You're not seeking. You're simply radiating. And this is where most spiritual teachings stop. They teach you how to awaken, but not how to stabilize. But we don't want flashes of power. We want sustained resonance. We want to live in a state where every breath, every word, every silence is a broadcast of truth. That's what dark source activation gives you: energetic consistency. Not perfection, integrity. So how do you integrate these 7 forces into your daily life without burning out your nervous system or collapsing your human relationships? You begin by treating your field as a sacred instrument. You stop giving access to energy vampires. You stop explaining your frequency to people who haven't earned the right to witness it. You stop negotiating with distortion just to maintain peace. You stop calling chaos clarity just because it feels familiar. You refine, you contain, you command. Not from ego, but from energetic sovereignty. You learn to feel when sacred rage is needed and when stillness must hold the space. You learn to walk into ancestral trauma with the calmness of a storm, not to fix it all, but to witness it without becoming it. You learn to speak from singularity, not from reaction. And in that daily practice, you become the field you used to seek. But here's the secret most people will never tell you. Living from dark source will cost you everything that was built on falsehood. It will burn your fake friendships. It will unravel your old business models. It will dissolve your spiritual persona if it's not rooted in embodiment. Because dark source energy does not negotiate. It purifies. It strips you down to essence. And that's why most people flirt with these energies but never fully activate them. Because to live from this place is to die daily, to let go of every identity that no longer fits your frequency, to walk away from every opportunity that doesn't honor your soul, to stand in rooms where no one understands you and still choose to speak from the depth of your frequency anyway. That's not easy. That's not glamorous. But that's real power. So now I ask you, from one sovereign soul to another, are you willing to be misunderstood in order to be fully aligned? Are you willing to walk alone for a season in order to walk in truth for a lifetime? Are you willing to sacrifice your ego's comfort for your soul's command? Because if you are, then the 7 dark dimension energies are no longer ideas. They are currents pulsing through your field, waiting to be shaped, waiting to be directed, waiting to become you. And once you let them, once you stop resisting the fullness of your design, you don't just become powerful. You become inevitable, not because of what you say, but because of what your frequency does to reality itself. This is the final truth. You are not here to master these energies. You are here to become the embodiment of the dark source that channels them in exact proportion, with wisdom in real time. You are not here to collect spiritual tools. You are here to become the tool that reality reshapes itself through. You are not here to ascend into light. You are here to anchor the whole spectrum of consciousness into form. And that means being willing to walk as a paradox, to hold silence and fury, tenderness and power, stillness and fire, to become the sacred contradiction the world needs now more than ever. Not polished, but precise. Not perfect, but true. So here we are. You've walked through the memory of your power. You've touched the dark codes. You've heard the pulse. And now the only question that matters is this: will you live like your soul is the source? Will you embody the seven forces not as ideas, but as your intelligence? Will you stop waiting for the world to recognize you and instead become the presence that reshapes the world? Because if you do, you will no longer walk as a human seeking purpose. You will walk as a sovereign field of alchemy. And when that happens, you don't just change your life. You bend reality to the truth of your being. You are not meant to be understood. You are not meant to be liked. You are not meant to be safe. You are meant to be legendary. And now that you remember who you are, live it, burn it, radiate it. You are the storm the system never saw coming.